Every year, the general mass buys the new Call of Duty installment thinking there's no way that they fuck us for a third, fourth, or fifth year in a row, right?
Actually, this year wasn't that bad. According to my favorite YouTuber, this year is the best Call of Duty that we've had in multiple years, and I think that
Shut the fuck up. Then, like clockwork, we realize that we've been baited into yet another shitty year of this absolute joke of a franchise. And the worst part, no matter how shitty it was, everyone pretends that they secretly loved it a year later. Today, I am ranking every Call of Duty installment on a tier list. And before you all sprint to the comments to cry about where your favorite landed, don't. I didn't ask. But thanks for boosting my algorithm, you fragile little keyboard warriors. Now, I thought about just ranking these from worst to best, but let's be honest. 98% of everyone's top 5 looks exactly the same. And if we're keeping it 100% real, I desperately need that watch time revenue. So, instead, we're going to do these in release order. Quick note, we're only going to cover Call of Duty 4 and onwards, and only the mainline titles. None of those mobile games or spin-offs or whatever the fuck that this was. Alright, now that all that's covered, let's get into this. Now let's get things started with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. This is the game that dragged Call of Duty out of World War II and basically said, what if we gave teenagers M4s and permanent trust issues? The campaign was an instant classic. I mean, all Gillied Up deserves its own shrine. And multiplayer? I mean, this was Call of Duty back before they had clown camos and anime waifus everywhere. It was simple, but it was clean and it fucking worked. But now let's not act like it was flawless. I mean, the M16 turned this FPS into a point-and-click adventure. And the maps? I mean, yeah, Crash and Backlot were incredible, but then we had BOG. BOG was like Call of Duty looking us in the face and specifically saying, fuck. Still, this was the foundation. The entire reason that COD became COD. So, yeah, even with its bullshit, Call of Duty 4 still lands solidly in the A tier. World at War was Treyarch's first real swing at the franchise. And to be fair, the campaign was solid. Gritty, brutal, and Reznov shows up for the first time. It definitely had a darker edge that stood out. And then, of course, we have the birth of zombies. This mode went from being a weird little Easter egg to carrying an entire generation of Call of Duty fans. Now, if we're talking zombies alone, you could argue this being B tier. But we're not ranking singular mode, we're ranking the entire package. And the multiplayer? Yeah, that shit was pretty rough. The guns felt clunky, the hit detection was spotty at best, and tanks. I mean, who the fuck thought this was a good idea? Now, World at War has its legacy, no doubt, but let's be honest, when Modern Warfare 2 dropped a year later, nobody was playing this shit anymore. This is a game that you respect for the history of Call of Duty, but not one that you actually play. So for this, World at War lands at the C tier. Next up, Modern Warfare 2. Now this wasn't just a video game, this was an entire cultural reset. I mean, everybody was playing Modern Warfare 2. Your neighbor, your friend, your friend's mom, that random 10-year-old that kept getting into your lobby screaming the N-word into a shitty Turtle Beach headset. I mean, the campaign was an instant classic. We're talking No Russian, Shepard betraying you, the Gulag. It was basically Michael Bay directing your trauma. But let's be honest, nobody remembers Modern Warfare 2 for the campaign. It's all about the multiplayer. And holy fucking shit, multiplayer was chaos. The guns were busted. I mean, the Model 1887s were dual-wield shotguns that you hip-fired across the map and still managed to get killed. One-man army noob tubes basically turned every lobby into carpet bomb simulators, and Commando Pro knife lunges. You weren't getting assassinated back then. You were getting sprint tackled by the Flash. And yet, this game was absolutely perfect because of just how broken it was. With maps like Terminal, Favela, High Rise, and Rust, these maps were absolute classics. The memories were untouchable. Every match was a highlight reel of rage and dopamine. This game would almost be considered perfect if flash grenades didn't feel like getting a burlap sack thrown over your head and getting skull fucked into another dimension. Right, Jeff? So, yes, this isn't even a debate. Modern Warfare 2 goes straight into the S tier. Black Ops 1, I love this game. The campaign is easily one of the best in the franchise, with conspiracy theories, brainwashing, Mason screaming the numbers every 5 minutes. It was peak storytelling for Call of Duty. The multiplayer was solid as hell, with the FAMAS, the Galil, and the AK-74U. These are iconic guns in history that actually felt balanced. And with maps like Nuketown, Firing Range, Summit, and Havana, BO1 had the classics. Don't even get me started on zombies. With Kino, Ascension, Call of the Dead, this was Treyarch finally cementing themselves as the kings of zombies. So why isn't Black Ops 1 an A-tier Call of Duty? Because as much as I love it, the game was slow, the hit detection was iffy, and the graphics were still money even for 2010. Honestly, it just doesn't hit the same highs that Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare do hit. So yeah, this game is consistent, reliable, and I mean, it was a really good Call of Duty, but it's just never quite going to break into greatness. So yeah, as much as it does hurt me to say it, Black Ops 1 is going into our B tier. Next up, we got Modern Warfare 3. Now, this game does get clowned on a lot for being MW 2.5, and honestly, it's kind of deserved. But you know what? That wasn't entirely a bad thing. It was like Infinity Ward took MW2, patched all the broken bullshit, and said, alright, let's just make this game playable. The campaign was an absolute blockbuster. With the Eiffel Tower collapsing, Soap's death, this game hit pretty hard. I mean, this is Call of Duty at its like most cinematic. In multiplayer, I mean, MW2 Chaos got cleaned up just enough to not be a complete broken exploit shithole, but still kept the classic Call of Duty fun that made you coming back for more. I mean, the ACR was a fucking laser beam, and the MP7, if the M16 was a point-and-click adventure, then the MP7 was just a point adventure. All you had to do was tape down the trigger, aim in a general direction, and you just got yourself 2 kills. But let's not forget, MW3 also gave us survival mode. So basically zombies without any zombies. Points for trying. Look, at the end of the day, MW3 wasn't anything groundbreaking, but it was consistent, fun, and damn near impossible to hate. This is gonna go in our A tier. Black Ops 2. S tier. Moving on. Okay, fine. But I'm not saying this for the 2 people raising your pitchforks at me in the comments section right now. This is for the new age COD players who never got to experience this masterpiece firsthand. Black Ops 2 is as close to perfect as Call of Duty has ever been. The campaign had multiple endings with branching storylines, moral decisions that made it more of a choose-your-own trauma. And multiplayer, I mean, the Pick 10 system completely reinvented class building. The guns were balanced but iconic, with maps like Raid, Standoff, Hijacked, and Express. I mean, 3 of these 4 maps are getting reused in the Call of Duty for the end of this year, almost 2 decades later. And zombies? I mean, Black Ops 2 gave us Origins, Mob of the Dead, Buried, like literal masterpieces. Yeah, they gave us Transit 2, which was a literal dumpster fire, but it's the kind of dumpster fire that you love to watch burn. It's beautiful, isn't it? This game is basically perfect, except for... No, that was a good thing. Well, actually, there's... No, that was pretty awesome, too. Yeah, Black Ops 2 is basically as perfect as it's going to get on this list. This goes right to the top of S tier. Now, I know what half the comments are typing out right now. D tier, garbage, the worst Call of Duty ever made. And yeah, the community's been treating this game like the plague for years, but... Me? Well, I think this game was pretty criminally shit on. The mechanics honestly felt great for the time. Gunplay was smooth, the game actually ran well, and it introduced a ton of new mechanics that we still use today. Extinction mode was low-key underrated, and the campaign was actually fun. I mean, shit, this dog had more personality than half of you fuckers watching right now. But let's introduce the elephant in the room. Yes, the maps were fucking massive. I mean, most of them aren't even maps at all. They were actually national parks just with spawn points added into them. Imagine getting off your 9 to 5, spending some time with your family, and then getting on Call of Duty to relax for the night. And you spend 4 straight minutes running around the map just to die to some random-ass 13-year-old leaning on a wall in their spawn. Peak fucking fun. Now, despite the absurd map size, Call of Duty Ghosts did add one of the most pivotal game mechanics to ever be added to a Call of Duty and influenced the course of Call of Duty history for years to come. AI fish. Now, look, animated fish seems a little ridiculous to get excited about, but you guys have to realize, this was 12 years ago. Just think about it. I mean, you're coming off one of the strongest runs of Call of Duty games in the history of the franchise, and the next big idea to up the ante this year is these fucking things. I mean, we got it. Bravo. Absolute genius, guys. This is groundbreaking fucking stuff right here. Now, look, all jokes aside, I know the community probably has this game in C or D tier, and I know that I'm not supposed to implement my personal bias on this list, but, well, this list is my list, so go fuck yourself. This is a B tier Call of Duty. Next up, we got Advanced Warfare. Call of Duty must have been sponsored by Red Bull for this game because this shit gave everybody some goddamn wings. Let's be real. The movement in this game was absolutely chaos. Gunfights looked less like tactical combat and more like a laser tag birthday party on Adderall. I mean, half the lobby was in the sky and the other half was trying to learn how to aim up for the first time in their lives. But the real legacy of Advanced Warfare was supply drops. This game kicked off the microtransaction era and oh my god, it was a circus. No fucking literally, a goddamn circus. Pay-to-win weapon variants, goofy cosmetics. I mean, nothing says immersive military shooter like getting shredded by a guy in a full clown mask wielding a rainbow AK. Peak immersion, guys. And look, the campaign, I'll give credit where it's due. Kevin Spacey as the villain, it actually felt like a big deal back then. Yes, it did age like sour milk, but in 2014, that was headline stuff. Now, Advanced Warfare is one of those games where it ruined the timeline for a lot of fans. But it also pushed Call of Duty to try some new shit. And honestly, I had a lot of fun with it. Not great, not awful, but respectable. Was it a clown fiesta? Absolutely. But goddamn, was it one hell of a fun clown fiesta. B tier. Next up, we got Black Ops 3. Now, this was Treyarch's jetpack entry, and to be fair, it was smooth as hell. Wall running, thruster jumps, sliding around like cracked out ninjas. I mean, if you were going to play Call of Duty in the sky, this was the way to do it. But holy shit, this game was bloated. Over 100 weapons by the end of the life cycle. Want a new gun? You guys better pray to the RNG gods or take out a second mortgage on your house. And the outfits? I mean, half the lobby looked like rejected Fortnite skins, and Fortnite didn't even exist yet. Now, credit where it's due. The movement was fun, the guns felt great, and BO3 Zombies is still some of the best the franchise has ever had. Shadows of Evil, Der Eisendrache, and Revelations were all absolute masterpieces. But when you boil it all down, Black Ops 3 is the best of the jetpack Call of Duties. Period. It's the one that people actually look back on fondly, which is why it sits very comfortably in the A tier. Oh man, here we go. Infinite Warfare was a pivotal shift for the worse. I mean, the community begged for boots on the ground. And what did Activision give us? Laser guns and sent us to the fucking moon. This game dropped a trailer so hated it became one of the most disliked videos on all of YouTube. No, seriously, this is fucking insane. I mean, the campaign was a discount Halo. Nobody wanted to run around with guns that sounded like Nerf blasters. And don't even get me started on the supply drop clown show in this game. Pay real money to look like a rejected Power Ranger while getting vaporized by a dude in a robot suit. Are we fucking serious right now? But then came zombies. And oh my fucking god. Zombies in Spaceland had more passion in it than the entire campaign. Every Zombies map was dripping with creativity. 80s theme park, kung fu movie, Rave in the Woods? I mean, this mode single-handedly carried Infinite Warfare like it was LeBron on the 2018 Cavs. So yeah, Infinite Warfare isn't entirely escaping the frying pan, but Zombies keeps it from drowning in the D tier. For today, it's a C tier Call of Duty. Now, after the jetpack circus, fans begged for boots on the ground for another year, and we finally got it. But holy fucking shit, do we get it in the most boring way possible. World War II felt like less of the triumphant return that we were promised, and more like paint by numbers in a World War II shooter. The campaign was fine. Like, it was emotional in some spots. There were some cool set pieces, but multiplayer was a dumpster fire. Shitty kill streaks that felt like paper airplanes, and even shittier mastery camos. I mean, somehow making the studs dirty and some of them falling off made Diamond look better. And only about 400 random ass weapons that nobody fucking asked for. It was like they were trying to sell us the entire World War II armory just to distract from how dog shit the maps were. And then there was Headquarters mode. Now, this in theory was pretty cool, but Activision hyped this up to be the new future of social Call of Duty. In reality, it was just Loot Box Simulator 2017. I mean, half the fun was opening supply drops in front of your friends and then pretending not to judge you for your bad luck. Zombies went for this scarier, darker tone, and sure, it looked cool, but it never reached the heights of what Treyarch's potential was. Now, Call of Duty World War II wasn't unplayable, but it sure as hell wasn't memorable either. It promised this glorious return to form, and instead it gave us brown maps, bad streaks, ugly camos, and more guns than an NRA convention. For me, this is a C-tier Call of Duty. Now here's one that I know is going to piss some of you guys off. I know a lot of the community would rank Black Ops 4 in a B or maybe even an A tier. Yeah, Blackout was really cool. Call of Duty's first stab at a battle royale. It hit for a minute. Stitched together some fan favorite maps. It had fun gameplay. It really felt like a beta test for Warzone. But let's be honest. Once Warzone actually dropped, nobody touched this shit again. Multiplayer was an absolute headache. When the time to kill stretched out, it felt like Call of Duty wanted to be Overwatch. Trying to enjoy Black Ops 4 multiplayer was like willingly signing up for a root canal. Zombies, from what I saw, this shit was bloated as hell. Giant maps, overcooked storylines, and Easter eggs on Easter eggs. It was like Treyarch just dumped the entire kitchen sink into it. Hardcore players loved it, but for casuals like myself, it felt more like homework than a video game. So yeah, Blackout did carry for a bit, but multiplayer and zombies dragged this straight back down. BO4 isn't the worst, but it's definitely not a game that I'm ever booting back up. For me, this is a C tier. Now, Modern Warfare 2019 was kind of a weird one. On one hand, it looked gorgeous. It felt gritty, and it had some of the best gun animation and sound design the franchise has ever had. The campaign was straight up fire. Dark, cinematic, controversial, exactly what a Modern Warfare reboot needs. But once you hit multiplayer, some of the cracks started showing. I mean, the maps were absolute ass. Piccadilly was a death trap designed by somebody who clearly hates fun. Euphrates Bridge looked more like a sniper's only exhibition than anything else. And then there was Azir Cave. Half the lobby camping in the dark like it was a freaking Airbnb rental. The pacing was brutal too. With the addition of doors, mounting, and Dead Silence is now a field upgrade, it slowed everything down and rewarded camping more than rushing. It was the first Call of Duty where running and gunning felt like trying to sprint through quicksand. Still, the gunplay was really smooth. The overall vibe was really fresh. It carried the whole package all together. MW 2019 had its fair share of problems, but it never felt like a bottom tier Call of Duty. Really solid game, just weighed down by some dog shit maps and camping galore. B tier. Now, when Cold War launched, this shit was rough. Bugs everywhere, half-finished maps, and the whole thing felt like it was rushed out the door just to keep the annual life cycle alive. I mean, at first, it looked like another dud. I mean, to be honest, it felt like a $60 beta test. But where this game ended at was beautiful. Multiplayers were the best that we've had in years. They were fast-paced, balanced, and it actually had fun again. Gunfights felt clean, the maps had flow, and for the first time in a long time, Call of Duty gave us a multiplayer worth grinding. And then there was the zombies. My god, I mean, Cold War zombies might be the most slept on peak of the modes since Black Ops 3. The progression system was addicting, the maps hit pretty hard, and Outbreak was a wild, fresh take that actually somehow worked. It gave players freedom, replayability, and a reason to keep coming back for more. Now, there might be a perspective gap here, because let's be honest, part of why Cold War felt this good is because we just crawled through a trench of a stretch of terrible Call of Duties. By comparison, this thing naturally looked like a masterpiece. That's just where the chips fall. It didn't drop perfect, but by the end of the life cycle, Cold War was firing on all cylinders. Not the very top of Call of Duty history, but it's pretty damn close. For me, it's an S tier Call of Duty. Call of Duty was going to start building up some momentum again. It dropped this to slam the brakes. Vanguard was horseshit. The campaign was forgettable, the multiplayer was boring, repetitive, and it felt like a reskin of World War II, but somehow even worse. The maps were bland, the time to kill was so low you died before you could even blink, and the spawns made zero sense. Every match felt like you were getting jumped in a dark alley. And zombies? I mean, don't even bring it up. They somehow managed to make one of Call of Duty's most beloved modes into a soulless, empty grind fest with barely any content at launch. It was like the devs showed up hungover, scribbled some shit on a napkin and said, here, call this zombies. The only positive about this game is Atomic Camo. I'll give them that. Atomic Camo is one of the nicest match 3 camos that we have ever gotten. But no camo in the world is worth grinding the horseshit that was this Call of Duty. Vanguard wasn't just disappointing. It was also pretty pointless. For me, this game is a D tier. If Vanguard was a stumble, Modern Warfare 2 was a full-on faceplant. This game had all the hype in the world. The return of Modern Warfare, the marketing, the build-up. And it somehow delivered less content than the mobile beta? What? What the fuck? Multiplayer was a fucking disaster, with maps so forgettable that you could have named 3 if your life depended on it. I'm not talking like the one-word, like shortened down names that we gave to all of these maps because we couldn't remember all the names. But let me actually give you guys a test. What's the name of this map? Okay, what about this one? And this one? Exactly. Gunsmith was overcomplicated for no reason. I mean, grinding on attachments felt like doing taxes across multiple weapons. Here's a fun question. Why the fuck did I have to get my light machine gun to a level 38 to get my submachine gun a fucking red dot? The UI felt like less of a menu and more like a maze, like Call of Duty was trying to embark on the escape room concept. And the pacing was fucking painful. Dead silence is still a field upgrade, movement felt sluggish, spawns made no sense, and half the lobbies were camp fests where everyone was mounted on a corner like they were glued to the wall. Campaign was completely forgettable. No iconic moments, no memorable missions, just the most mid-storyline imaginable dressed up in 4K. And don't even get me started on the content drop. Basic features missing at launch, maps recycled, playlists constantly broken. It was like paying $70 for another unfinished demo. Except this game didn't shape up to be fucking anything. No personality, no identity, no fun. This game belongs exactly where it is. To the goddamn bottom in F tier. Now after MW2 fell as hard as it did, MW3 came to pick up the pieces. And honestly, it wasn't half bad. Not a top tier Call of Duty by any stretch of the means, but compared to the last 2 Call of Duties that came before it, this was a fresh breath of thank fucking God. Multiplayer was carried pretty hard by nostalgia. Bringing back the classic MW2 maps at launch was a pretty genius move. Stepping onto maps like Terminal, High Rise, and Favela again gave something that was familiar to players and something that was fun to play again. Gunplay was clean, the pace was faster than MW2, and for once it actually felt like Call of Duty again. That said, the campaign was a joke. Calling it Modern Warfare 3 was generous. It felt more like recycled MW2 DLC content. And I mean, the zombies... The idea was cool on paper, but it ended up feeling like DMZ with Halloween mask on it. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the fresh, groundbreaking take that fans wanted either. So, honestly, MW2 is going to land in the B tier. And that leads us to our current Call of Duty title, Black Ops 6. This game is pretty much the definition of mid. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It's just a game that exists. I mean, the campaign had some style, sure, with a couple of spy thriller vibes, some big cinematic missions, but it never really had that one moment that's going to keep us talking about this campaign in the next decade to come. It kind of felt like they were trying to mash like Cold War and Black Ops 1 together, but it didn't really take any of the magic from either of those that made those games work. Multiplayer was where the hype was supposed to be. I mean, omnidirectional sprinting, slick new animations, and while the gunplay was fine, the maps and spawns dragged it all down. I mean, half the time you're fighting the game design instead of the other team. Cool movement doesn't mean much if every lobby feels like a spawn trap simulator. Zombies did come back round-based, and that did save this thing from being a complete disaster, but even then, this felt like previous Call of Duty titles leftovers. There were some decent maps, they added some fun ideas, but nothing really pushed this to move forward. This game is realistically a C tier, maybe even a B tier, if we're just talking raw mechanics. The gunplay was fine, the movement system was flashy, and zombies was at least serviceable. However, there is nothing in this world that I hate more than a game that completely sells out. And for a franchise that makes millions to potentially billions, Black Ops 6 did this shit to a goddamn fucking T. So yeah, fuck the mechanics, fuck the gameplay entirely. Black Ops 6 is the kind of Call of Duty that doesn't make you mad because it's broken. It makes you mad because it doesn't stand for anything. And that is the sole reason that it sits in the D tier category. And that's my list. Every mainline Call of Duty title ranked. There's some absolute legends up here, but there's also some absolute disasters and plenty of mid shit in between. Now all of our eyes are on Black Ops 7. Will Treyarch finally deliver another classic, or are we in for another overpriced reskin with a battle pass glued on? Time will tell. But if there's anything we know for sure after 2 decades in this franchise, it's that we'll all still be here playing it and complaining anyway. Thank you for watching. And let me know how you guys would rank this tier list in the comments down below. Because I already know half of you are bitching me out for having a different opinion from you anyways. At the end of the day, Call of Duty is like that one toxic ex. You know it's bad for you, but somehow you just keep going back. We don't play Call of Duty because it's perfect. We play COD because it's COD.